Hello and welcome to the Republic Day special episode of Battle Cry, the only show on Indian television that gets you up close with India's warfighters, India's weapons, and how this country defends itself. On Republic Day, one of the things everyone sees is the big weapons display, and this is a brilliant occasion to do an audit, a check on some of India's biggest homegrown weapons projects. This Republic Day, good news from India's weapons industry. India's own mountain tank gets rolling. A tank for the Ladakh standoff starts trials. But reality check for air power projects. Can India nail its homegrown weapons programs? Battle Cry on Republic Day. We're starting this Republic Day special episode of Battle Cry with some very good news, and it's something that has sprung from urgency. India's standoff with China in Ladakh is nearly 4 years old, and one of the weapons most required and urgently needed in the mountains has been a light tank that is purpose-built for mountain operations. It's something that the Chinese have, but something that India has sorely lacked until now. In a few months from now, the world's biggest military standoff will be 4 years old and counting. India matching Chinese aggression man for man, creating a frozen military confrontation in Ladakh. But apart from the thousands of Indian and Chinese troops massed along the frontier of eastern Ladakh, the two sides also have battle tank regiments on either side. But unlike China's Type 15 light mountain tanks built for agility and operations at high altitudes, India has had to deploy its heavy main battle tanks, the T-90 Bhishma. Realizing the risk of this disparity, the Indian Army has had to look for a solution on a literal war footing. And that's where the very good news comes in. India's Defence Research and Development Organization and private sector giant Larsen & Toubro have begun internal trials of a rapidly developed homegrown light tank called Zorawar. Named after the iconic Dogra Rajput ruler, famous for his 19th century conquest of Ladakh and western Tibet, the Zorawar light tank is likely to be ready for crucial user trials by the Indian Army by April this year. Weighing just 25 tons, half the weight of heavier tanks in service, the Zorawar will provide the Army agile, nimble and rapid armoured strength in the mountains and difficult terrain, something it currently lacks. Light tanks also allow the forces to access higher altitudes and slopes, something heavier tanks like the T-90 simply cannot do. The Army has signalled a need for at least 59 of these tanks when they're ready, with a larger requirement of 295 more hanging in the balance. In the last year, the Indian Army has deployed a number of Indian-built K9 Vajra tank-tracked artillery guns in Ladakh, providing very potent teeth to frontline forces. There had been talk of this very K9 being modified and configured as a light tank, something that still could happen in the future. But for now, the purpose-built Zorawar light tank will fulfill the Army's needs in Ladakh and other high-altitude areas. As India continues to modernize its armed forces and enhance its strategic capabilities, the need for specialized military equipment becomes increasingly apparent, especially for a country with an active military standoff. The Indian-made Zorawar will provide a strategic advantage by offering rapid response capabilities in Ladakh and beyond. The nimble nature of these vehicles will allow the army swift deployment and repositioning, crucial since threats can emerge suddenly. The journey of what is hoped will be another iconic Zorawar has begun.